CYBERPOWERPC Gamers Xtreme VR GXiVR8140A Gaming PC. Review, unboxing and setup. First of all, the machine was delivered to me very well packed and everything intact. The CYBERPOWERPC is very pleasing to look at from an aesthetics aspect and is very well put together. Setup really couldn't have been much easier. I was up and running Windows 10 within a few minutes of delivery. I have this PC hooked up to my 48 Samsung KU7500 series 4K TV, really good TV for gaming. BTW, HDMI 2.0 cable connected to HDMI port 2, HDMI UHD color, on, 4:4:4. Gaming. Destiny 2 runs beautifully at 2160p, 4K, 60 FPS on this rig on default settings. You do not need a 1080p to run Destiny 2 at 2160p, 4K, 60 FPS. The GTX 1080 is sufficient. Overwatch of course runs maxed out at 2160p, 4K, 60 FPS, my TV is 60Hz. Skyrim same story, gorgeous at 4K, 60 FPS. Also tried Ghost Recon Wildlands. This game is a beast on your GPU. This one would not run 4K, 60 FPS, I doubt a 1080t could for that matter, however it was great at very high preset 1440p, 60 FPS. Very much pleased by the performance of this PC. I do think this combination of i7-8700K, GTX 1080 should be capable of running most games at 4K, 60 FPS or 1440p. 60 FPS plus. All games at 4K, 60 FPS max settings? No, but with a little bit of adjusting the settings back to very high, and if required medium, I know God forbid, you still end up with an experience that looks and plays phenomenally. Honestly, ultra settings are so overrated. You really can set the graphics settings slightly down to very high and even meta in some cases, and it looks just as good. Just about as good, or to a point the difference is negligible. The only notable difference is that you gain a ton of performance, FPS. Ultra is there to get naive people to spend money on things they don't need. This is why you don't need a 1080t to play most AAA games at 4K/60 FPS, the GTX 1080 is enough for the most part. Anyway, rather you get one of these CYBERPOWERPCs with an i5. RX 580, GTX 1060 or a fully maxed i7, 1080 Ti. I'm sure you will be very pleased with your system's performance. These folks obviously know what they're doing and the layout chosen makes it really easy for future upgrades. The RX 580, GTX 1060 PCs will dominate any AAA game at 1080p, 60 FPS plus. Much better deal than spending $500 plus online subscription on a mostly 4K, 30 FPS machine like the Xbox X BTW. 1080p, 60 FPS 4K, 30 FPS. The GTX 1070 PCs will dominate most AAA games at 1440p, 60 FPS plus. The GTX 1080 PCs will crush most AAA games at 1440p, 60 FPS plus, as well as play most AAA games at 4K/60 FPS, some graphics adjusting might be required. The very top of the line max ATI GTX 1080 PCs of course will play the vast majority of current AAA games at 4K, 60 FPS at the highest settings. Special discounts on product. Get the discount link in the description box.